Hey everybody, it's Rob here at etrailer.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at the CURT Class 3 custom fit trailer hitch receiver on our 2019 Buick Enclave. Now, our hitch is actually already installed. We have this panel at the very bottom of our Buick. If we turn these knobs right here, we can loosen it up, just pull it out, and now we have access to our hitch, so whenever we want to tow or put any other kind of accessory in there, we can, but at the same time, we'll still have a clean look on the back of our Buick when we're not using it. Now, I do want to mention that the wiring we have here does not come with our hitch, but if you're going to do any kind of towing, I definitely recommend getting some trailer wiring. It makes it extremely easy to get all those lights, signals back to your trailer, or if you just have any hitch-mounted accessories that need power and light up. But our hitch is a Class 3 hitch, which means it's going to give us that 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening and have the widest variety of options when it comes to accessories. Again, obviously we can tow a trailer, put a ball mount in there, but we can also hit the trails or go to the park with some friends, put a bike rack so we can carry some bikes with us, or if we just need to make room on the inside, put a cargo carrier back here. Again, there's just a really wide variety of options when it comes to accessories. But whether you are going to be using it for towing or more recreational purposes, all of our accessories are going to mount to the hitch pin hole here on the side. And the hitch is going to accept a standard 5/8 pin and clip. Now, these don't come included with the hitch, but you can find them here at etrailer.com, along with some locking devices and anti-rattle devices to keep your accessories secure and to cut down on that annoying rattling sound coming from the back of the receiver tube. Now, if you are going to be towing, obviously you need to hook up your safety chains, and here we have a loop style welded to the bottom of the receiver tube. And if you have most what I consider normal size hooks, there is plenty of room to get those hooked on or take them off. You really shouldn't have to worry about interfering with the bottom of the fascia or pin and clip or anything like that. And even if you have oversized hooks like these, there's still plenty of room, and again, we don't have to worry about it hitting the car, knocking into anything. There's plenty of room to get them hooked on and take them off. Now, weight capacity is a pretty big thing when it comes to a hitch, because obviously if you have something in mind you want to use it for, you want to make sure that it's up to the task that we put it to. Now, our hitch is going to have a 750-pound tongue weight. This will be the maximum downward force at the end of the receiver tube. And to put that in perspective, we're going to really be able to load up those large cargo carriers and maximize the carrying capacity, and even be able to carry maybe even 5-6 bikes with us if we put a bike rack in here. Now, our hitch is also going to have a 5,000-pound gross trailer weight rating. Now, that's how much the hitch can pull, but that does include the trailer and everything we have loaded on it. Now, it is designed to work with weight distribution systems as well. That's going to be a separate component that's mounted on your trailer, and both weights are going to stay the same. The tongue weight at 750 and the gross trailer weight rating at 5,000. Now, I do recommend that you double check your Buick's owner's manual, because those are the ratings for our hitch, and we don't want to exceed the manufacturer's rating for our car. I'd like to give you a few measurements. These are going to help you whenever you're looking for accessories for your new hitch. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper, so you're right about 3.5 inches. And that measurement is going to help you when you're looking at folding accessories to make sure you can put them in the upright stored position and not make contact with the rear bumper. Now, from the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening, so you're right about 21 inches. Now, that height is definitely going to help you out when you're looking for a ball mount, so you can find the appropriate rise or drop to match up to your trailer. But now that we've seen what our hitch looks like and gone over some of the features, let's go over the installation process together. So to begin our installation, we want to open up the rear hatch on our Buick, and we're going to come to the inside edge, just in the inside of the taillights. Now, right below the taillights, we're going to have these 2 plastic covers. We're going to go ahead and pop those off, so you can get a flat blade screwdriver. And if you come in from the top, kind of pop it open like that, and that'll expose a bolt right behind it. Do the same thing for the bottom. And we need to pull both of these bolts out. So we'll take a 7mm socket and loosen them up. Now, we definitely want to hold on to the hardware, because it is going to get reinstalled. We're going to have these 2 covers and bolts on the other side, so we'll take those out as well. Now, right below those 2, we're going to have another bolt, and it's going to be on each side again. This time we want to grab a T15 Torx bit and pull that bolt out. Now if we move underneath our Enclave, just towards the center of where our tailpipes are, right at the corner of the bottom of the fascia, we're going to have this support tab and a bolt that's holding it in place. We're going to use that same T15 Torx bit, pull it out, and we are going to have one on each side, so we'll move over to the passenger side and pull that one out as well. Now right in the center of our fascia, we're going to have this knockout that we can actually pull out. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out now that we don't have to deal with it later. We're just going to have these quarter turn knobs on the bottom. Just turn them counterclockwise. That'll loosen them up. I should grab the panel, kind of lift up and outward, and we can pull it off and set it aside. Now all the fasteners are loose underneath, and in the hatch area, we need to move to the rear wheel well liner. It's going to be right behind our rear tire, and if we look on the inside edge here, we're going to have 4 fasteners that are holding the liner to the body of our Buick. We're going to pull those out. We're going to use that same T15 Torx bit, but because of the limited space, I do recommend using a short driver like this. So we'll go ahead and pull all 4 of these out. Then we're going to push the wheel well liner out of the way. Just grab that liner at the bottom. I'm just going to kind of peel it back. We can hook it on the tread of the tire so it's out of the way. Now if we look right where our fender meets the fascia here, right at the bottom, there's a bolt just on the inside behind the liner. We need to pull that out, so we'll grab that 7mm socket from earlier and pull that bolt out. Now if you use an extension, it'll probably help a little bit just so you're not having the driver so close to the body. With this bolt removed and the liner loose, we're going to do the exact same process over on the other side. So we're going to get ready to pull our fascia off. You want to start at the corner where the fender meets the fascia, and we're going to start pulling away. There's going to be some clips. And once we get to about here, it's a good idea to kind of grab underneath, and we can work the clips loose until the fascia can come off. We are going to have some wiring on the driver's side that we need to disconnect, so you don't want to pull it too far away just yet. So we have this large connector over here. We're going to slide the red tab away from the connector. We'll push in on the black tab there. And they can be pretty tight. We'll push in on that black tab to separate the connector, and then we're going to set our fascia aside where it won't get damaged. With the fascia removed, I'm going to go ahead and put a support strap up to hold the exhaust up because we are going to be lowering it down. But you can either use a strap or if you have a jack stand that can hold it underneath. We don't really need to have it lowered down a whole lot, but we are going to be loosening the bolts. You just want to find a solid point on the vehicle. We can tighten it up. That way when it does come down, there's a little bit of support here. So we can go ahead and get ready to remove our bumper structure here. We're going to have 2 nuts. They're going attached to some studs on top. And if we look on the bottom, our exhaust is actually bolted to the bumper beam as well. So that's why we want to make sure we have that support there. So we're going to grab a 15mm socket and we're going to pull all 4 of those out. You can see the exhaust drop, but that strap is keeping it from going down too far. Now I do want to mention I like to leave one of the nuts on at least one side, just real loose like this. That way I don't have to worry about the bumper actually falling. It'll catch, and then once we have that last one removed, I can reach over and loosen it by hand. Go ahead and remove that last nut, lift up, pull out slightly, and we can set this aside. So we're going to grab our hitch, and these long tabs, we want to start them at the top. We want to feed our hitch in until we can get the flange here to line up with the studs. We can push it in place, and we're going to reuse the factory hardware on top here. Now once you get the nuts started on top, I will let you know it's a pretty tight fit. So what I like to do is take that 15mm socket and draw the nuts on so it'll draw the hitch against the body. You should alternate it so it pulls it in evenly. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Now we have two more pieces of hardware on each side that we have to get in, except these are going to go in the bottom of the frame. We have a large hole in our heat shield here, and then we have another one at the very back of the bumper. Those are going to be our two mounting locations. So we want to grab the pull wire, the coiled end from our kit. So we're going to take the coiled end, we'll feed it up into the hole, and you want to feed it towards the back to where we have our hitch mounted. Now there is an access hole that's on the hitch itself. And it's a little bit of a technique, but the goal is to have the pull wire come out that hole. At the same time though, you want to make sure that the tail end is still sticking out of the bottom of the frame. And we can get ready to get our hardware in place. You want to take a square hole spacer block. We're going to slide it over the pull wire. I'm going to go ahead and just push it into the frame, and we'll take a carriage bolt, thread it onto the end of the wire. We'll push that into the frame as well. Then we want to come back, grab the tail end, and have it drop down until the bolt comes through. Now you can look through the access hole on your hitch. Make sure that that bolt and block are going all the way through the frame, through the hitch, and it is engaging it. Now that's going to be the same process for the rear mounting hole right here. So once we have both bolts in place, we can remove the pull wire. We want to grab a conical tooth washer. There's little teeth on there. You face up towards the hitch. And I always like to kind of just use my finger to push against the bolt. It'll trap it and make it a lot easier to get the hex nut installed. Keep it from spinning around, give it a little stability while we're trying to get it started. And that's going to be the same combination of hardware for our other mounting bolt. And we're going to have the two same locations on the other side. So we'll get those fish wired in and get the washer and nut in place. Now, I'm going to recommend that we tighten and torque these bottom bolts first, because once we raise our exhaust up, you can see that we're going to have so much limited space there. It's just a lot easier to torque those down now. So I'll take a 19mm socket and snug them up. But you do want to come back with a torque wrench and torque those bolts down to the specified amount in the instructions. We're going to go back and repeat that for the remaining bolts on the bottom. Now to bolt our exhaust back up, we want to take the hangers, but we're not going to use the factory bolts. We're going to use the new bolts they provide us in our kit. They're a little bit longer, so it can take up that space taken up by the hitch. We also want to make sure we put a conical tooth washer in place. So we'll slide it over. Get one of them loosely started, just get a couple turns by hand. And once we get that one started, we can get the other one in and the other two on the other side. It definitely will help out a little bit if you raise up on the exhaust to get everything lined up. Once we have both of them in place, we'll grab a 17mm socket and snug them up. That's going to be the same combination on the other side, so we can raise the exhaust back up and put those bolts in as well. Now that all the bolts in place, we're going to go ahead and torque the ones that are on the front of our bumper structure here to the specified amount in the instructions. We're going to repeat that for all the remaining bolts over here and the other side. Now I do want to mention that we went ahead and ran our wiring because that large plug over here on the side, it'll have a dummy plug on it. That's for your trailer wiring, so we went ahead and plugged ours in, and routed it over towards the receiver tube, and then just have it hanging off the safety chain loop. Now I suggest doing the wiring when you're doing your hitch, especially if it's this hitch and you're removing the fascia, because nobody wants to remove it twice, and as you can see, that's pretty high up. Even if we had the fascia back on, you're going to have to reach underneath the exhaust and try to undo this clip. So it's just a lot easier to do it now. That's what I suggest doing. Save yourself a little bit of time. So now with everything torqued down, we can put our fascia back in place. Just don't forget to plug in that connector over on the driver's side. Line up the fascia. Once we get it clipped in the center, I like to grab that large bolt and at least get it in hand tight. That we don't have to worry about it falling off. And just get the rest of the clips in place and get the rest of the hardware that we pulled out back in as well. And with our fascia back on, we actually still have room to put that knockout panel back in place so we can have a clean look on the back of our Buick whenever we're not towing. But once you have that panel back in place, it'll finish up your installation and your look at the CURT Class 3 custom fit trailer hitch receiver on our 2019 Buick Enclave.